Here's the start list for the men's 1500, and Mark Fountain of Victoria, the quickest man in the field here. Perhaps Brenton Rowe, the man to watch though. He is a very talented athlete. He's got a 3:39.68 to his credit. Outside of those, well, it's a very open race, but it looks as though Brenton Rowe is deserving of favouritism. But there's Mark Fountain, 3:33.68, fifth fastest Australian of all time. And remember, he ran so well at the Commonwealth Games in 2006 as well.
It's great to see Mark Fountain back, because he's been battling Achilles injuries for 2 years, just trying to get back on track, get his times down. It is a shame we don't have Jeff Risley here or Jeremy Roth. We've seen them perform very well over this series. Jeff Risley, of course, ran the 800 metres last night and did incredibly well. So this, for them not being in this event, it actually gets this race more challenging or more interesting to see who could possibly come through and win it.
And it looks as though Brenton has decided to do us a favour, because he's got the iridescent orange shoes on, which will make picking him up just a little easier.
In this light
view. So the runners assembling in the back straight, 1500 metres, and this closing event of what has been a really successful track series around Australia. Brisbane and Hobart, Melbourne and Sydney, and we've seen some wonderful performances, but few more stirring, it's got to be said, than what Jana Pittman was able to do tonight.
Look, that was an incredible run. It was lovely to see her back, and I'm probably a little bit biased because I did train with her when she was 17 years old going into the Sydney Olympics. It's great for track and field, but right now our focus is 1500 metres. It's Lachlan Chisholm actually ran a very impressive run last week at the New South Wales State Championship, so he's coming into some form, and it'll be interesting what sort of pace they'll be doing throughout this race.
Yeah, his dad and sister won Australian Championship medals, and he's a 3:37.03 runner, so we probably haven't really paid, or I haven't paid Lachlan Chisholm due respect leading into this race. He's definitely amongst the contenders here with Brenton Rowe.
Yeah, Lachlan Chisholm's actually done a 3:42.29 this season, and then Mark Fountain's done a 3:49.35. Brenton Rowe a 3:41.69. So it's going to be a nice, interesting, close race.
Been around for a while now, Lachlan Chisholm, about 30 years of age, getting up into the veteran category. In fact, a couple of years older than Mark Fountain, the tall man in the blue, in the middle of your picture. And they're going through the introductions here. Ethan Heywood on the right of the picture, Joshua Tedesco next to him, Brenton Rowe, Mark Fountain, as we said, the man in blue. Alan Craigie, the man in red on the outside of him. Then Thomas Bruins, who carries the blue colours, out in position number 7, not so much lane 7. Marc See of Western Australia. There is Lachlan Chisholm, won't be able to miss him either, with the yellow headband, and Chris de Boer of Western Australia. State champion, goes from the outside. 3 3/4 laps, always one of the prestigious events at any track meet, the 1500 metres. And they're underway in what is effectively the metric mile, and dropping back after the start, Alan Craigie is going to occupy a position at the back of the field, and striding up with a fair bit of purpose on the outside is Chris de Boer, and he's going to be the man who's going to take them on. There is Alan Craigie, or there was Alan Craigie at the back of the field, but it's going to be de Boer who's going to cross, and he's going to lead Chisholm into the straight the first time. Fountain is up into third. See's got up into fourth placing now, and let's have a look for the favourite runner, and that is Brenton Rowe. He's back in fifth place at the moment. So the two ones that we're really looking for, Lachlan Chisholm in second, Brenton Rowe in fifth after the first 300.
Yeah, it's interesting how they end up, running this race. Do they run a tactical race, or do they run for time? But Chisholm's looking very comfortable there now, and also Fountain going through the strides, through the motions, and making sure that they stay up with that front runner.
And they've gone 57.21 for the first first lap here. So De Boer has taken them along at a pretty good clip. It is in second placing Lachlan Chisholm still, and they've got out into Indian file here. And normally what that indicates, Mel, is that the pace is really brisk out the front because there's no pairs. They're all just running on the plinth.
Yeah, it is interesting trying to do the pace for that. And as you said, they're moving through quite comfortably at the moment. No one's really wanting to make a huge impact, but just going through the motions.
Well, 57-second lap, the first one, is in 3:34 pace, and it looks as though they've turned it down a bit here. You would think that they've probably actually dropped the pace a little bit, but De Boer doing a little bit of surging up the front anyway as he takes them past the judge with 2 laps left to go. Chisholm content to sit in second placing. Fountain is third, Rowe is fourth, See is fifth. And that was the order as they head towards the back section of the track. Let's have a look at 1:59. So they've gone from a 57 lap to a 1:02 lap. So they really did drop anchor there.
Yeah, De Boer is sort of breaking off now, and it's all up to Chisholm. Chisholm's looking quite comfortable with Fountain just making sure that he's just staying on his tail.
So it's Lachlan Chisholm who's going to have to do the bullocking work up in front. Fountain content to sit with him. Rowe is third at the moment. See is fourth. And it looks as though it might be in fifth place there, Bruins, as they come down the straight. Thomas Bruins is fifth, and they have really singled out. In fact, the first 4 are starting to get a little gap from Bruins at the moment, so we're into a battle in 4.
Now, Chisholm's really starting to pick up the pace now, obviously with the last lap, the bell lap to go, so it's going to be a real battle now coming around to the last 300 metres.
Well, remember the last lap was 1:02, so they're getting up towards the completion of this lap now, and they've gone through in 2:58.61. So it is Lachlan Chisholm who leads them. Fountain has been camped on his back. Rowe is third. Now they've got the gap over Marc See as well. So it's a battle in 3. And here comes Rowe. He just hits the afterburners at the 200. Went past Fountain as though he was standing still. It might be a different matter, though, getting past Lachlan Chisholm. Although he looks as though he might be able to achieve that at the top of the straight. It's a bit of David and Goliath going on here. Rowe on the outside of Chisholm. Fountain's got the last crack at them. He peels to the outside. What a battle it is between the 3 of them. Rowe in front, Fountain's coming at him. Chisholm can't find the answer, and a smart tactical race as Brenton Rowe comes away to win from Marc Fountain and Lachlan Chisholm in 3:40.7 in the 1500.
Oh, Brenton Rowe's looking very happy with that. He did sit on, with Chisholm and Fountain and really kicked it over that last 200 metres, and there is such a size difference, isn't there, Peter? You are right. It's like David and Goliath, but he just really started pumping those arms and kicked over that last 20 metres.
Yeah, very strong performance from Brenton Rowe. Boy, his acceleration down the back between about the 250 and the 200, it's already happened by this point, and he just blew by Marc Fountain, but Fountain's run really well because the other 2 went hard a long way out, and Fountain just looked as though he might be the surprise packet in the last 50.
And look, you can see there, Brenton just didn't panic whatsoever. He completely held his form and ended up winning the race because of it. And what a great performance, because last night he did run the 3K and won it, and has backed up really well in winning the 1500 metres.
And Lachlan Chisholm just running out of gas there at the end after being forced to make the pace after the pacemaker Chris De Boer pulled off down the back straight. But here is our winner, Brenton Rowe, chatting with Alex Malcolm.
Brenton, great run, 3:40, season's best. The pace was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was good. First lap was pretty quick. Eased up a bit on the second. I managed to get in a good spot, and then backed myself with 200 to go to get in another good spot, and held on for the win. And it was a strong last lap, probably about 56. So happy with that after backing up after yesterday's 3K. Yeah, pretty happy with it.
How have you found your season so far, given your times have been progressively getting better and better? Are you happy with where you're at?
Yeah, relatively happy. Like, I've run a PB over 800 on 3K. That's my season best for the 1500. So hopefully a bit quicker yet for the rest of the season, but hopefully I'll get another PB in the 15. But at this stage, just working towards Nationals in a couple of weeks. And this is just to simulate for Nationals, really 2 races in 2 days, heat and final.
How did you find the conditions here in Perth?
Yeah, perfect, mate. Yeah, it's a good hard track, nice and fast. Couldn't ask for any better conditions.
Brenton, congratulations, well done.
Thanks, Alex.